was born on the 5th of October 1926 in Ferna, a small town land about 6 or 7 miles from Omagh. It was a small house, just a room and a kitchen with a small scullery, they called it at that time, at the back, where milk and perishable goods would be kept. And my parents were farmers. They were both come from farming background, and they had, just suppose they were starting up in that house. They were short time before that they moved in and did a bit of farming. They had this small farm, about 30 acres in one, and another small farm was about 10 or 12 acres, I think. So they had hens and cattle. Poultry was their main livelihood all the time. They also sent them up to the creamery and did their farming. Mother that had a farm, she would bring in someone to help her to churn, make butter. And that woman wouldn't want money, but she'd like a can of buttermilk so that you could make bread. So my mother would always give her a wee bit of the butter that we made, like a wee tiny bit. And because there wouldn't be more than about £1.5 pound of butter on it altogether. And she would give her a can of milk, or she might give her a bucket of potatoes. But she'd rather have that than money.
Yes.
That would happen often. That woman would come and do other things. That's when we were small now, and we weren't able to do it. And she'd come in the harvest time to help in the field, and that's what she wanted, a bag of potatoes or something that could live on. There's wee shops here and there through the country at that time, like you wouldn't be going to Omagh to, well, the farmers weren't going anyway, because my father would always bring something out on Saturday, like a bit of meat or bacon or something like that. But for everybody else, they went to these shops, and there was no electric, so there would be no bacon in it, and there would be there'd just be bread and tea and sugar and things like that. There was a couple of these shops near where we lived, and we would always maybe send for a loaf. My mother would make the bread, but she'd send you for a loaf and not tempt for a change. And then in the shops in Omagh, some of them would put a lorry on the road and put groceries in it and bring you out. You could go there, and then he would go around the roads all, and you could buy your stuff there. I think they would have bacon with them now, and maybe, I don't know whether sausages existed or not, couldn't tell you. But that was one thing that farmers done. They reared a pig till it would be about a year, and now about 100 and a half, whatever that is, I don't know. And they'd grown up, and it would be a good pig. And my uncle and my father would kill that pig, and they would halve it. And then he would take one half, and my father would take the other half. And that was lovely. That done for a good while, and it would be salted. And there'd be a lot in that pig, like that wouldn't be bacon. It'd be nice, tasty bits, good stew and do all that. And that happened every year. The other ones would rear the pig next year, and then they would halve it again. So that went on every winter. The bacon would be so salty coming to the end that you wouldn't even want to eat it. But there was all there was. There wasn't anything else, except my mother would kill a chicken sometimes. We had a lot of chickens as well. They all go to the market. So she would get Sunday's dinner, would get a chicken. Other than that, it was a salty bacon. I went to school, didn't go to school until I was about 6, because I had about 2.5 miles to walk, and for the first mile or so there was no young people like myself on the road, so I had to be left there on the bar of my daddy's bicycle for a couple of weeks. But when I went halfway, the Gary Crossroads, we met other children, and then it wasn't very long till I was able to prod myself on up the road until for a year, and then my sister Susan was started the following year. She was very young as far as I was at my age to start, but it was just for company for myself on the way. So we had to walk all that to school and back every day. Rain, hail or snow, didn't matter. Well, the school was, the small school that we went into first was an old house, and by the looks of it, it was just a room and a kitchen, something similar to the house that I was reared in to that stage. And then there was another bigger school beside it when you moved in there in third class, and there was a schoolmaster in there, and there was just a lady on the other school teaching, and it was a house as well. It was a bigger building, it was a bigger house. There was a fire at each end of it, turf fire, and the daddies of the children brought a load of turf and a horse and cart to school to supply the heat in the school for the year. In the beginning, when we went first, we were taught about knitting and doing stitches with the teacher, and we taught, I don't remember much of lessons, I don't remember very much about them. But no, at lunchtime we had our lunch with us, which was bread and butter, and we ate that at lunchtime, either out about if it was good, and if it wasn't good we were in the school. Our toilets was an outside toilet. Well, could be maybe up to 20, might be a bit less than that in the small school. The other school, it'll be from primary 3 up to when it'll be 14 before they left school. So there would have been a good few in the other school, and all those classes were taught by the one male teacher. I don't remember ever being in trouble at school. I must have been a quiet person. Took things as it came, and the walk was long, and it was very difficult in our school, especially in bad weather. But I do remember walking to school in the snow, and the snow was so hard with frost that you could really walk on top of it, and then a foot would go down into it, and it was awkward to go to school. I left there at 14, and that particular summer we were working in the hay and in the turf at home, and then I went to the convent after that. I spent 3 years in the convent. I rode my bicycle to home every morning, about 6 or 7 miles away. And had my packed lunch with me as well, and we had a cup of tea in the convent at lunchtime, and we had our lunch there. Well, there was all subjects. It was geography and English. I was 3 weeks late starting because I had to go to the hospital and get my appendix out, and I always felt that I never caught up. So I spent 2 years there, and then I wanted to do nursing when I was 18 at that time. But I wanted to go to England to my cousins. They were always with us during the summer. During the war, they were always with us. They wouldn't be sent over because the food and all wasn't very good in England, and it was all rationed. So they'd be sent over to my mother for keeping them for a month. And we enjoyed them, so I wanted to go there to do nursing, but I wouldn't get leave to go. Too young at 18 to go there. So I was told then I stayed for a year at home and helped us around the farm that I could go next year. So when next year came, it was out of my head, and I was happy where I was, and I was working on the farm, helping my father, and I stayed. There was, at the end of the 3 years, there was an exam. I did that exam all right, but I don't know. I don't think I did very well in that exam. I don't remember right what. I can't tell you what I got, but I don't remember. But I was glad to get away, and I was just ready to leave school. We went to Kelly's in Lough McCrory at the Irish dancing, and went on bicycles. That's about it. We never had. We'd go for walks. Now we'd go over there for a walk and over the road and back again, and we'd go into the house and make tea for ourselves, and we're just mucking about and doing very little. No, we hadn't pocket money. We hadn't pocket money going to school. We had no pocket money. But we would have an odd penny maybe, but it would only be a penny. And somebody would give us that maybe. And there was a shop in Minefield beside the school, and we enjoyed that. It was a sweet shop. We could look in the window without money, but if we had a penny, we could go in and enjoy a bar of toffee, or maybe 2 blackjacks, as they called them, for the penny. And we'd be as happy as Larry was out. I remember the Second World War breaking out. I was in Carrickmore with my aunt on holidays, and it was on a Sunday, and a couple of my cousins that were aged for joining the army in England were sent home. And I was just scared about the whole thing. I thought we were going to be all bombed out of the place. So I had to get home that time. So my aunt put me on a bus in Carrickmore and brought me down to Drumnakelly, and I had to make my way home from there, which was about 2 miles. And I think I was about 12 or 13. But I wasn't like a 12-year-old now. I would be more a 9-year-old or maybe an 8. They're far better advanced now at that age. At home, my father had a radio. It was the only one had it around the parish, and it was around the road that I lived on. And he would have this on, that Lord Ha Ha was on every night at 9 o'clock. I don't remember whether he was English or German or what he was, but anyway, he was on there. And a few of the neighbours, older men, would come in to hear it, and we would have to be very quiet when that was on. I would take off a hat and hit your skite with it and make you sit down until he finished talking. So I remember that all right. This radio, it come from school one day, and my father was up a tree beside the house putting a wire onto it, and it went in through the window, a hole that he bored in through the window, the bottom of it, and this wire went in there and went into the battery that was in here, and it was just really something. That time there was no radios anywhere, we hadn't heard that. And the cars were very few as well, but there was an odd car. There was about 3 in Minefield, in the village where the school was. That was all. As the time went on, the soldiers were over here in Northern Ireland, and they were doing their practice, and they would be out on the roads and go on the farms as well with their tanks and their machinery, and they would do their practice here for being moved out again into England. And later on, the Americans joined as well, and the American soldiers were here, the American Army were here. And they had great big lorries, and they would land somewhere and do their practice around the farms. And we used to be scared enough of them, but they were always nice. And they would maybe take some big van would come with their lunch to them, and when my father had a shed and it was a cold day or a wet day, they would get into the shed and have their lunch there. And they would produce bars of chocolate or toffee or something to us if we were about, but it was very seldom. But we did, and some of the American soldiers got to know their Irish girls, and some of them had boyfriends, and some of them even got married and went back to America with them. But there was a lot of people from Northern Ireland joined the army, you know, an awful lot of them. Like there was money, and it was good pay for it compared to what they were getting anywhere else. But there wasn't much work for anyone except on the farm. Well, my job was helping my father. He wasn't very well. He had a heart condition, and I would help him on the farm, and help him with clean, do the turf and the bog for the fire for the winter. And we'd have to spread the turf, and we'd be back putting them up on rickles and all that, and then they'd have to be taken home with a horse and cart. So I remember going with him one Saturday to Omagh in a cart. It was only once I think I got enough that. He always went on a Saturday for a meal for the hens and the cows and all that stuff. And I sat with him in the cart going there. It was a long distance with a horse, not in a big hurry, and back home again, so once was enough. Where did I meet Granda? Well, at these Killies, all the young people all around Loughnacrory would be all there, so he was one of them. And we just danced together, and it wasn't, I suppose I always had an eye for him, I don't remember right, but we went home in our own ways. Well, there's nothing, and that lasted, I'm sure, for 3 or 4 years. And then he used to come down and we would meet on the road or somewhere, and it went on from that until 1953 when we got married. But we didn't do much other than go for a walk, or else in a group there with my cousins again. They would have they were the same as I was. If they were meeting people, they all meet there together on a Sunday evening for a while, and that would be it. You would hardly see them during the week at all. And then as time went on, there was an odd car about, and he got a thing, you might call it a car, but it was a wreck kind of a thing. But anyway, we could go to the pictures once or twice a week, and well, not twice a week, but very lucky if we got once. We wouldn't have an awful lot of money to go to these places anyway, so that went on until 53 when we got married. Oh, the wedding was very small. We had my uncle and an aunt, and there was a few of the cousins over. I think there was 3 of them over from England, and I think the party wouldn't be more than about 20 or 25, and we had our wedding in Killitower Chapel, and just a 10 o'clock mass. That was what it was. There was no big fuss about it. There was no flowers, well, except a bunch of roses that somebody gave me, and other than that, the chapel wasn't decorated or anything. It was just mass. And then we went to the photographer and got our photographs taken, and after that we went to a restaurant and had breakfast. and it was just breakfast, no dinner. We had our wedding cake, which cost £12 for a 3-tier cake. I remember buying that myself. I made my own wedding dress, and my sister was bridesmaid, and I made her dress as well. And Mickey had his brother as best man. That was it. Headed off to Dublin, and my father's car, because his wasn't worthy of that journey. And we got there, and it was in the month of November, and the days were very short. And we stayed there from the Thursday until the Monday, and the Monday was getting scarce, so we came home. Oh well, there is an awful change from when I was. We had no electric light at home, we had no running water, we had no bathrooms. We had just an outside toilet, if we were lucky, and so many things. Like we had, a light was, you had to have a lamp with oil in the bottom of it, and a wick that you lit up, and it was only a glimmer compared to what we have now. So the switches on the wall now are just great. But I had no electric until '66, where I was living in Loughnacrory. But we made our own with an engine, and we could manage. But you had to go out and start the engine at night, and you had to go out and put it off before you went to bed. So it had its advantages and its disadvantages. But I managed. I remember the first TV, Mickey was working somewhere about Carrickmore, and they were throwing out a TV. It was one of those big ones. I don't know what size it was, but there was as much of it at the back as was a screen at the front, maybe bigger at the back. And he was leaving it out, so he bought it off him. And coming down, and that was about 59, and there was just only BBC. There was no other stations. It was all white, it's all black and white, no colour. And I remember going up in the corner, and while we had it the first couple of months, we had it, UTV come on, so we had the two then, and that TV done in our place for ages, and it was the only one was there as well. The neighbours hadn't got any, and we wouldn't have it either had it not been the way we got it. And so they would be in then if there was horse racing on Saturday. There's a neighbour was really interested in that, and he always arrived on Saturday to see the horse race and things like that. So we had plenty of neighbours visiting us then. It was good. And then we also had it when RTE come on. The same TV was there. And that was in January '61, I think. I remember that well. There's always a reason for remember these things. There was a sister-in-law died that time, and I was just loving to see RTE coming on. And she died that evening, so I didn't see it. I had to be up at the house giving a bit of help, and my mother-in-law came down and slept in my bed while I was up working at their house. I didn't see RTE coming on. So there was always something to make you remember the dates of these things. I was great for doing that.
Do you remember the day Mummy was born?
I do, I remember it. 10th of May. 10th of May, 57. I knew in the morning that the baby was going to arrive, so I sent my husband for my mother and the nurse as well. there was a nurse come in, and that it was early in the morning, maybe 9 o'clock, and everything went well because Angela was born about noon or around that time. I just don't remember what time. And we were happy to get another wee girl, and then Mickey's mother and father, they were asked to stand for her baptism. So she was wrapped up in her wee gowns that she do at her baptism, and the two of them headed off with her about 6 o'clock that evening, the day she was born. And she was baptised in Loughnacroy. No, I wasn't there, I was in my bed. My mother stayed with me for that day, and my mother-in-law stayed the next day. And after that, we managed our own. Oh, well, the troubles were very, very terrible altogether. I know what I've experienced them all, and I was always interested in listening to what was going on and what they were talking about. It was a terrible time, just what we have here from 68. I remember 68 when that was the start of it as far as I was concerned, because it was the time that they battered the people off. And I don't know whether it was in Derry, but I think it might have been. I'm not sure if it was Derry or not. And it was the first time that really TV got a look, and that was in October 68. And from that on it was not good. My husband would have been into a few scratches and the way we'd been searched coming home and things like that, and that's all. That's all I think ever happened to him. We had a couple of horses burned and a couple of vans stolen, and that was about our loss. The building sites now, you had it worked them very well when you had it. You had to just watch what was going on. But you managed all right through it all, but there was ups and downs, plenty. Well, when I was a child, we had turkeys. We reared them, but we didn't eat them. It'll be a big lump of roast that would be bought for Christmas. And she had these 3 aunts in England, and my father would kill 3 turkeys and sew them up in a poke bag that the flour come in, and send them over to England to the 3 of them, because that was during the war as well, because they wouldn't have very much there for Christmas any more than anybody else. So that always happened every Christmas. 3 of these turkeys went. The rest of them were sold to the butcher or whoever was about to buy them. Well, you might get a red apple and a pencil and a rubber, I suppose, and you might get a wee doll later when if you were at that age. But I remember Susan and me getting a doll each, and the heads. My mother made the bed one day and threw the clothes and I lifted them out again, and this doll was on it. And it was only about 3 or 4 days after Christmas. This doll was on it, my head broke, and it was doesn't know whether it was my doll or Susan's, and both were the same. Oh, well, that was sad. And that's all you would get. You'd get this red apple. Everybody got this apple. It's one of those American apples, you still get them around Christmas time here.
Macintosh, those ones?
That's right, they were lovely. Well, Christmas Day, we wouldn't have had turkey on in early now. I think we went down to my mother for Christmas for a couple of Christmases, and the children arrived and would stop that. Would just have a good round of meat, and I didn't rear turkeys at all, and would just have a good Christmas dinner, and that would be it. And they would have their toys, and they had a couple of uncles that were very good to them too. They would always arrive with those boxes, that lamps there, with chocolate bars, you know, and that was about the Christmas. There was no great, but there was always some wee thing, I don't remember. You'd always get them something, or for Santa, like, and that was it. There wouldn't be as much as they get now, like it. I remember Gertie getting a sewing machine one time. I don't remember what Ansel got, but she took more value to the sewing machine. She just sat there and put it away at it. It wasn't a great thing now for anybody to get, but she enjoyed it. And you might get them a couple of knitting needles and a ball of wool. Something simple. You would always get something for school, like say a pencil case or something like that.
And all five of yours went through university? Or through...
No, they didn't. Gertie did. Angela didn't. Angela should have went to Derry by right, because she would have gone to the civil service. She was very good. But then at that time we had bothered getting somebody for office work at home, and she did a course in the tech, and she stayed at home, did her, what do you call it? Don't remember it now. Shorthand. She did all that. He scribbled, like, and she understood every bit of it. Even when she went into the office, if she was told something that would be in this shorthand, she would be writing it down. She did that. I said, that's your mommy, I forgot about that. So she was there for a long time. She was there until we closed down. I don't know how many years that would have been. And then she went to Mountfield School, and then she went, now she's retiring. Terrible, isn't it? Lifetime. Pauline didn't. She went to St. Bridget's. She wasn't school-minded at all. And she went to the convent to piano lessons. And then she applied for the hospital and went nursing. The two boys, Damien, Sean should have been at school, but he wouldn't go to Belfast. He wouldn't do his A-levels. And he went to the tech in Belfast, and then didn't like that, so he left and went to work on the building, and didn't like that either. So he applied. He must have been going to Derry. He went to Derry, that's right, a day every week then for a good while, a couple of years maybe, while he was working at the same time. And then he got that exam and he started into the building and the building control and Oma. Damien's in the same boat, and that's what he done too. So really and truly it was only Gertie that went to college. But the rest went out all right. Oh, it has changed, surely. We have a good way now. My great-grandchildren, they have a different life altogether, and they're able to do the things that we all should have been doing, like getting into music and doing that. Like, that was unbelievable. It was unheard of. You had anything, all you had was a gramophone and a record, and that was your music all the time. Now they can go out and I have a car and they can go where they want. We moved down from Loughnacroy, where we lived, to Killyclare, and I'm on my own, and and granny flat beside was my daughter and her family. I've been my own now for 25 years. And I've my granny flat for 22. So, there can't be many more years left.
Don't be saying that, Nana. Don't be saying it.